Okay, let's kick on. And now we're going to be zeroing in now on trustees. Okay, trustees. Many people are interested in knowing, about trustees and what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do. Yeah. Okay, so we go on. Trustee information. I usually have a lot of questions with regards to trustees. Can my mommy, my daddy, my son, my daughter, can I bring all my family members? And usually people ask these questions because there is this prejudice or wrong information rather about trusteeship. People just think that trustees are out there to cause trouble, to make life difficult. That's not what it is. The government made sure that organizations will have trustees because, like I said at the very beginning, this is they are entrusting public funds and public lives into your care. When you say you want to reach out to the public, a charitable organization is an organization that has seen a need in the society, and they say we want to meet that need. And the need that we as Christian organizations are meeting essentially is a spiritual need of people. Spiritual need because they need to make a connection with God through the Lord Jesus Christ. So we are in a position of trust. And so now they're saying, bring other people along that can be entrusted with this responsibility. A life is very important, very valuable, and they don't want you to toy with people's lives. So that's the idea behind trusteeship. I want us to get it right. It's not about, putting spies in your organization or putting obstacles and opposition to your progress. No, the idea of you having trustees is that two heads are better than one. The Bible says in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. And that's why you cannot afford to just say, I'm bringing my friend, I'm doing the no. The whole essence of having trustees, the whole essence of bringing trustees is that these are people who are coming to contribute to the growth of your vision. There are people that are coming to interpret your dream. There are people that are coming to bring their skills, their wealth, their abilities, capabilities, talents, gifts to the progress and growth of your organization. When you have this kind of perspective or understanding rather, your perspective changes. And so now you think carefully about who you bring on to the board. You don't just go and pick anybody from outside just because you want to play safe and you want people who will always say yes to your ideas. It is wrong. The basis on which you choose trustees is what is the value they are going to add to my organization. Let's stop playing safe because we don't want to be regulated. Let's say yes to the vision that God has given us and really be serious, because we don't know what we are missing out on when we say we are playing safe and we are bringing people who have no idea whatsoever about running an organization. And then you also bring them, some of us, we've had from the inception of our organization, we've not provided one training like this to trustees. The meetings you call are, this is what we want to do, just say yes, and that's it. Some people don't even have records of minutes of meetings. These are malpractices. If we are salt and light, then where is our light? Where is our salt? Do you get it? So today is a day of reflection, and today is a day of repentance, and today is a day of new beginnings. Hallelujah. So who is a charity trustee? Charity trustees are people who have the general control and management of a charity's administration. In short, they are ultimately responsible for the charity. Excuse me. Yes, you are the visionary. As far as the law of the land is concerned, your trustees have been entrusted with the right and privilege to run your church. It may be a bitter pill to swallow, but that's what it is. So this, the decision of who you appoint as your trustees has to be done prayerfully. You cannot play or toy with this decision. It is important. They may also be known as the board, the management committee, or directors, depending on the kind of structure that you have. Under some structures, they are called directors. Like if they are limited by guarantee, your trustees are called directors. It doesn't mean that they have the decision making, not the decision making. It doesn't mean that they are earning salary. It just means that they have been put in that position to help give a sense of direction to your organization. So the title trustee is helpful because it gives a sense of the trust that the law places in them. Okay, that's why they are called trustees. They have been entrusted with the care of the organization. So primary responsibilities of the charity trustee. The overriding duty of all charity trustees is to advance the purposes of their charity. They are there for your benefit. Your trustees are there to serve the purpose of the organization. And that is why if you put forward a motion that they believe will not serve the purpose of the organization, yes, they may oppose you. It's just like even the president, prime minister. He alone cannot say, oh, this is it. If his parliament, his what do they call them now? It's just gone out of my mind. The people that he's working with. If his ministers say no, that is it. So what they're trying to do is there is safety in numbers. That's what they're trying to do. So don't, don't be bitter towards your trustees. If maybe you want to pass a motion and they are still not convinced, it's not because they want to do you harm. It's because they are thinking about the good of that organization. Okay? Financial procedures. This is another area that, there's a lot of misunderstanding. The church wants to do mission to Congo. It's about, pastor is moving by faith. Trustees are looking at what is on ground. And they are saying, Pastor, we cannot afford to pay 2,000 pounds. What is in the coffer right now? The bank account is 1,000. So it's either pastor multiplies bread and fish, and we can see it. Because when Jesus multiplied, they saw it, he said distribute, and there was results. Usually this is where, the conflict comes in. And it's in any relationship. Look at even marriage. Usually, finances is a very touchy subject. So if it comes up even in our churches, we shouldn't think it's the devil. No, it's just the nature of finances. So to guard against fraud and mismanagement, a charity should put proper financial procedures in place, covering everything from budgeting to check/payment authorization. And why have I put check/payment? Because we are all becoming paperless in our transactions now. I remember as a grant maker, we stopped issuing checks and we were paying directly into the accounts of those organizations. So some of you may still be issuing checks and some of you may already be paying via BACS, BACS. So that's why I put /payment authorization. Okay, you need to put proper financial procedures in place. Some of you don't have what you call the petty cash, for instance. That's the minimal that you should have in your financial administration. So after Sunday, you want to pay the, I was going to say organist, you want to pay the keyboardist. You don't just put hand in the money. No, have a petty cash system where you know that this is for running costs. So that you are accountable. You can give an account of every single money that comes into the coffers, into the church account. It's very important that you bank every money that comes in. And then from there, you now pay your staff or pay volunteers, whatever needs to be paid, whatever needs to be bought, and you have a proper audit trail. If they wake you up in the middle of the night to show your account, you are not sweating because everything is accounted for. Black and white, no gray areas. Trustees should monitor the implementation of these procedures. If money is lost as a result of staff fraud, the trustees will be expected to explain to the Charity Commission what steps were taken to prevent fraud and why they broke down. So from the moment where, say for instance, a church situation, from the moment where we receive our tithes and offering, what is the procedure of counting the money, of banking the money? How do we do it? If, say for instance, the children's department need money to, do any events, what is the procedure? All the heads of department in your church, let them provide a budget for the year, or maybe for 3 months. If you want to do quarterly, let them have a budget. It's submitted to the person who is in charge of finance. And once they have the budget, most of us, we are directors, senior people, so you understand my language. Let's bring those good practices into our organizations. That's what I'm talking about. Let each department have its own budget. We approve £10 just for, the sake of explanation. We approve £10 for children's department for 3 months. And they will submit how they have spent that £10. Submit it to the person in charge of finance. So, and it also will help you. By the time you want to do your final accounts, these are the things that you will give to your accountant. And he will thank you. He or she will thank you that you've got such good records. It's important. Sometimes our accountants charge us more because our account is in disarray. So for them to even make sense of it, they have to charge you for that time that they're going to spend on it. So it is very important. Financial procedures must be in place. Complying with the law. Trustees must make sure that their charity is run in accordance with its constitution and other laws and rules. When people approach me, when they are already registered, whether as a company, as a KIC, or as a charity, the first thing I always ask is, where's your constitution? There is nothing I am able to do without first consulting your constitution, because that is your directive. I have to follow what has been put there. There are clauses in there that may inhibit whatever ideas that I have. So I have to go in, check your constitution, make sure I am doing it. Even when you want to close down a company, it should be according to your constitution. That's why you have a constitution. That's why as Christians, we have a constitution. We can't tell God we are ignorant. He will tell you, did you consult your constitution, the Bible? It's the same thing. So we need to befriend the law. Reporting and accounting. All these things that I'm talking about are responsibilities of the trustees. Can you see now, if trustees are a little bit reluctant to approve some things, it's because all of this is on them. All of this is on them. All charities in England and Wales are regulated by the Charity Commission. Most need to register with the Commission and provide it with annual returns, trustees report, and accounts. That is important. And if you are a CIO, they also expect some policies that you need to submit to them. Many charities also owe duties to other regulators. For instance, like I explained before, if you're a charitable company, You must report to both Companies House and the Charity Commission. If you are a housing association, you are also accountable to the Housing Corporation. So everything is according to your constitution. And that's why you must think very clearly, deeply and clearly what your vision is, and to determine the best structure that will serve your purpose. Very important. Then you will know who you are accountable to. It's not that you are along the way and you say, well, I didn't know. Ignorance is no excuse. You must know. It is important. Meetings. I know some trustees who they don't even know the date of meetings, or after service. Now pastor will say, oh, trustees, wait behind. It's not done. You must give at least 14-day notice of meeting and ensure that everybody had the opportunity to receive that notice by law. So we can't just be calling people in it just because we are pastors and we think, No, we must respect other people too. Their time is precious. Yes, we are all serving God. We should be, but we do know as well that lack of planning sometimes is our problem. So if you already say at least 4 meetings, when proper, don't let me say proper organization, that's not bad. That's not nice. When well-established organizations advertise for trustees, one of the things they put there for the criteria, or for you to, be able to consider whether you want to come on board as trustees, is they will tell you a minimum of 4 meetings in a year or 8 meetings in a year. They put that forward so that you begin to understand what kind of commitment is expected of you. We need to imbibe such good practices. Not just expect our trustees will drop everything at the touch of a button. It's not nice. Let's respect their time as well. So how often should trustees meet? The Constitution may deal with this, but otherwise there is no absolute legal requirement. Trustees simply need to meet often enough to ensure that they are carrying out responsibilities properly. I always advise at least 4 meetings in a year. 4 meetings in a year, because how else are you going to innovate? How else are you going to grow if you don't come together? And please have minutes. It doesn't mean that you have to record verbatim, no. But the major decisions, make sure that you minute those things. It's important. The charity's governing document may specify how many trustees constitute a quorum. A quorum is a number of people that will make that thing viable. If you have less than a quorum, so say for instance, in your constitution, we say 3 is the number of a quorum. If you have 2 trustees currently at that time, you are only there, whatever you say, you cannot sign and say a meeting has been held. So you must always make sure you have a quorum at every meeting. It is important so that crucial decisions that need to be made can be made. What I always advise is, say for instance, you have 3 trustees and 3 is your quorum, and you have some who want to resign. First of all, appoint trustees so that there is no lapse. Do you see what I mean? So appoint new trustees before a trustee resigns. So if your quorum is going to be 3, then I will advise have about 5 trustees so that everybody is not resigning at the same time. I mean, unless there's something wrong, no, all trustees will not resign at the same time. Do you get it? So that there's always that room for you to always have a quorum at every meeting. And, so charity's governing document may specify how many trustees constitute a quorum at trustees meetings and should give details of the procedure for calling and running meetings. The governing document should also contain procedures about how to deal with conflicts of interest at meetings. Please refer to your governing document. What do we mean by conflict of interest? Say, for instance, OBA and her husband, the pastors of Shalom, they want to pass a motion. and their children are there with the same surname, well, even if they are not the same surname. So their family are already outnumbered, and we want to decide whether to increase their salary or to decrease it. The fact that they are there, their children, there's already conflict of interest, because it is assumed that they themselves and their children will vote in favor of increment of salary. So if they outnumber people who don't have, a bias towards them, that decision will not be made. So say, for instance, you have 5 trustees and they are there, their sons are there, they are already like 4 against 1. That's conflict of interest. Do you get it? So you need to guard against that. And that's why I always say, don't just bring father, mother, brother, sister, cousin into your trustee body. Because if the Charity Commission finds out that decisions have been made when there is a probability of conflict of interest, you may find yourself in trouble. So that needs to be dealt with. Okay, so you need to refer to your governing documents as well. But I just thought I would highlight that, because most of us have trustees who have personal relationships with us. Policies, like I said, especially for CIOs, you are required to have certain policies in place. My organization, we do draft and craft policies. If you, are in need of that, then we are able to do that for, of course, at a charge. So we do safeguarding, we do voluntary, whatever, every policy that a charity would need, we do that. So, and the other thing I want to say is policies are required by law, okay? But they are also a helpful document, because they help you to manage and delegate your responsibility. So please love policies. They are important and they are required. The other thing I want to emphasize is policies are a living document. What do I mean? They can change, they can grow. They are not cast in stone. So say, for instance, even safeguarding. Every day, new things are coming up. Governments are, finding out various things. Usually, especially when there is an unfortunate incident, maybe a child dies, they go back to the policy. What have we missed out? What steps did we miss in our policy? And then they will review it and update it. They review the law, they update it, and that has a knock-on effect on the current policy. So we all, as in citizens of the nation, now need to review what we have and make sure that we are in line with the new updates. All of us here, I'm sure we have bank accounts, credit card accounts. From time to time, they tell us, update to your terms and conditions. They are working at it. You also work at your policy to make sure that is up to date with the law. Okay? So please, don't just put your safeguarding policy and it's gathering dust. From time to time, you need to review it. Is it still serving our purpose or not? Liabilities of trustees. I did mention a bit of this when I was, speaking earlier. The potential liabilities of charity trustees to third parties depend largely on the legal form of the charity. Who do we mean by third party? Google is your third party. If you have Google Analytics on your website, it's the third party. If you hire a consultant to come in, that's third party. Those are liabilities, potential liabilities of charity trustees. So when you're going to ask a plumber to come into the building, for instance, to look at, various things, your plumbing issues, those are third parties, okay? Who has the liability if things go wrong? Do you get it? You need to look into that. So there are potential, because charity trustees are the ones, technically hiring those people, you have a potential liability towards them, okay? Please make note of your questions. I will look at it. I want to hurry up now so that we have time. Trustee indemnity insurance. You remember I talked about liability. Now, what you can do to mitigate or to sort of lessen the risk of personal liability is for the organization to purchase what is called trustee indemnity insurance. This is an insurance policy that protects the trustees in the event of claims against them personally. Given that trustees are less at risk from a breach of trust claim if they have been acting in good faith, consideration needs to be given as to whether the insurance policy represents good value for money. So it is not cheap. Therefore, you need to really think. If you don't think that, if it's just church and we know everybody is playing safe, as in, we are looking at everything that we are doing, we are following the law, you may not need to do so. But say, for instance, you are Save the World or whatever, where people travel abroad, they can get killed or they can, go and misbehave there. You understand? So the responsibility or the risk at hand, we should weigh the pros and cons before we buy trustee indemnity insurance. That's just what I'm trying to say here. So trustee indemnity insurance is regarded as a benefit to trustees. And the reason why I'm stressing this is because, generally speaking, trustees are not supposed to benefit from the charity. But even though this is considered a benefit, this can still come from the expenses of the charity. But it needs to be noted in the Constitution. Okay? But charity money can do this. It just needs to be in the Constitution. Okay? The Charities Act 2006 has also introduced a statutory power for charities to buy trustee indemnity insurance, even if there is no power in the Constitution, subject to certain safeguards. Okay? So again, your Constitution must be a live document. Very important. And now I have come to the end of my presentation. I'm going to stop sharing so that we have time for questions. Ooh, 12 on the dot. I'm sorry. But yes, I'm not rushing off anywhere. So sorry that I've gone over time. But please, if you have questions, let's deal with them. I'm still here.
Lady Maureen, there's nothing to be sorry about. You've been amazing, and all that you put together within that session is just amazing, is life-blowing. I want to, before we start taking questions, I want to emphasize the details of how we can contact Pastor Maureen. Pastor Maureen, could you kindly put your details on the chat? There are people here that might want to start a charity. There's some that might want to have a look. There's some that may be looking at trustees, and so many, because we're all here with different issues and different assignments. So I would like people to please kindly contact you. Pastor Maureen and myself work together, so it's okay. Don't worry, because I know there's some gurus at the back there, and they're like wondering what's OBA doing. They know that. They know themselves. Well, anyway, so this is something that we've put together to work together on this. And one of the things I said earlier is about the power of connection, the power of partnership. It's such a key. You have something that somebody else doesn't have. And that's why you cannot keep working by yourself. Connect with people, network, and stay with people. Relationship will break barriers. It will take away unnecessary cost. So while Pastor Maureen is putting that, I just want to emphasize the power of connection. And also, please, please, please don't be quiet. Don't stay by yourself. Might be one or two little things that you need to tweak, and that will help you and deliver you from a disaster that you might not have seen. So please, when we have prayed, we need insight. We need strategy. Then we need to run with it. It's so important that we do so. We need to pray, yes, but we build on a bended knee. But when we get up like Nehemiah, we will build with one hand, and the other hand we will walk and do whatever we need to do. And that's what we're doing this afternoon. I want to say thank you again one more time for everybody. So this is a question time, and I can see Sarah. Sarah is going for one question this afternoon. Okay, over to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Pastor V. It's not one question this time around, so just be prepared. Thank you so much, Pastor Maureen. Thank you so much, ma'am. So, you talked about, appointing trustees and all that. And you mentioned about praying before appointing. So are there other things to do as well? Obviously, prayers will be part of it, but are there other things to do as well in appointing trustees?
Yeah, so like I said when I was starting, first of all, to change our perspective as to the purpose of trustees. Trustees are supposed to come in to build together with you, to help to move your purpose forward. So when you have that in mind, what you need to now think about is, what are the skills that are needed for this organization to run? So do I need somebody? So say, for instance, you're thinking about financial procedures. You could have an accountant friend who has time to spare. And that's why it's also important specific things. So that, because if they're very busy people, if you are saying 10, 12, they may not be able to give that kind of time. But if you have, like I always say that I recommend, at least a minimum of 4 meetings in a year. So you look at the skills that is needed. For somebody who is running, say, for instance, a mental health organization, you already know that you would need therapists and people like that who will be able to give not only, they will be able to back up projects, for instance. They'll be able to use their skills and knowledge of that field, of that sphere, to push the vision forward. If it is, say, for instance, to do with cooking, for instance, then you know that you definitely need at least one cook or one chef on your trustee board, and possibly maybe somebody with health and safety understanding, especially when it comes to food and technology, so that they understand, they understand the language, they understand the, context within which you are working. So they're able to lend and give the skills, their talent, their money. So I'll give you an example. A lot of these, especially cancer charities, you will notice that they have celebrities. Why? Because they want to use their influence. Those celebrities may not even know anything about whatever. In fact, usually with big charities like that, there's a department that looks after just recruiting celebrities that they know will serve their purpose. So that's another way to look at it. So you have a celebrity to run a race for you or to do a campaign. You look at the advertising. It's not the staff that comes there. They use the celebrities. And those celebrities sometimes give their time for free. In charities that I have worked with, those celebrities, they will organize garden parties. And all they are doing is, flying their friends with tea, coffee, sometimes alcohol, and show me the money, So those are various ways in which you can use, your trustees to your advantage. So that's why I say don't just play safe and say it's only people, my family members, because they won't go against me. You'll be shocked. I mean, we know a popular church where the son says, actually, I'm not serving under you anymore. And it doesn't mean that there's enmity or whatever, but you may have to part ways anyway. So who says that your son, your daughter will stay with you forever? So don't make judgment based on, I want to play it safe. Look at the good of your organization and what will serve your purpose. And of course, if God is the one who's giving you the vision, he will also lead you as to the people to bring around you. So that's why I spoke about prayer as well. But definitely the skills that are needed, very important.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, ma'am. And you touched on draft and craft policy as well, but you didn't really say much about it. So I don't know if you could just...
Yeah, because I was looking at the time and I didn't want to. So basically, like for churches, for instance, one of the basic things that I do for them is safeguarding, because churches, members will give birth to children, and you have to make sure. And in this day and age where we also have disability organizations, I mean, we're not putting them out. You understand what I'm saying? So you also need to look at also safeguarding for people who need care. So your safeguarding needs to also think about that. It's not just for children, but for adults who need extra care, special needs, you know, should be represented within your safeguarding policy. What will you do if somebody needs help other than just sit down there, you know, ADHD, you know, various needs? Your policy must be strong and robust to you know, incorporate all kinds of people, and especially for churches where we are open to the public.
Yeah.
You have to think further, you know, wider than just you know. So yeah, so financial policy, volunteers, how do you recruit volunteers? You know, various kinds of things. Your budgeting, for instance, what are your procedures? You know, so when it comes to conflict of interest too, you need to have a policy about that. You know, when you're making decisions, how do you handle conflict of interest? And really, if you are registered as a CIO, they will give you a list as well of policies they want you to have, and you need to submit when you're doing your annual return, which is separate from your annual report.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Ma. I've got one last question, but just to also, I had this question written down, but before you touched on it. So I was going to ask the difference between trustees and directors, but you answered that already, so that's fine. That's been
They are called different names based on the structure.
Different organizations. Yes, thank you so much for that, Ma. And you talked about having a payment system in place for you know, accountability purposes and all that.
Yeah.
But some businesses would tell you to pay them cash, just and because you'll be paying them much lower because they're not paying for VAT. But obviously that is not traceable, you know, online and all that. You know, if they were to have a look on their into their accounts, for example, there's no way they'll be able to tell that, oh, this company, this business actually took cash for this particular service they offered.
What I would suggest for an organization, so say for instance, that's why I said to keep petty cash. Your petty cash can be as big as £200 or even maybe £800. It just depends on, you know, it's a ratio to your, say for instance, on Sunday, for instance, you take in 1,000. Your petty cash can stretch up to £300. Do you see what I mean? So you can pay your organist, your keyboardist from your petty cash. Do you understand? So people that you need to pay cash to, and make sure you ask them to sign. So you need to now have a receipt book, and you ask that you enter the payment and you ask them to sign for it, that they collected it. And that's what you're going to give your accountant. You should always have an audit trail of every expense that you make. You must always do.
Yeah, that's for if you want to be transparent. But for some businesses that would rather take that maybe £100, for example, because they're not going to pay VAT.
We don't encourage it, really.
Yeah,
we should not encourage it.
I had some
you have
people
to tell them like the centurion, I am under authority.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much for being a blessing this afternoon. Thank you for the insights as well. Thank you, Ma. More grace, Ma. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Obie.
Thank you. So we'll take these last two questions. Sister Blessing, thank you, Sarah, for those lovely questions. Thank you. Sister Blessing, quickly, please, straight to your questions. We know she's beautiful, she's anointed, yes. She's intelligent, yes. So just ask your question. Are you ready, Sister Blessing? Okay, Maureen. I think Maureen is ready while we're waiting for Sister.
Yeah.
Maureen,
sorry, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm ready. I say her hair is also lovely.
I knew it.
Thank you so much. My question goes maybe one or two, please. No, straightforward. The directors. If the directors stroke the celebrities, if someone, two ways, if someone else add your name as a director of a charity organization, I want to know the role, the signatory and just signatory or financial attachment there to sign
so
for
you're
the charity.
asking me what the role of a trustee is, basically. That's what you're asking.
Yes, please.
Okay, so number one, someone should not just add you to a trustee board. I would frown at that because, like I said, you are being asked to take responsibility for an organization you have no idea about. And these are the malpractices that we are saying that we need to guard against, we need to kick against. Because if we are salt and light, please use it as an opportunity to just educate them going forward, because these are malpractices. How can I be a trustee of an organization that they have? Yes, it can even be a church, but don't take it that, oh, it's just a church. We are all different. We operate differently. Even statement of faith, they are different. You'll be shocked what some people believe and what some people don't believe. So you need to have at least a copy of the Constitution so you understand exactly. They are the ones that will tell you what your role is in their organization. But like I said, the basic responsibility is that you have been entrusted to run that organization. It means that you need to make decisions with other trustees what is going to happen to that organization. Whether they want to have key bodies, for instance. Trustees must be aware. There are so many things that we do loosely. So in terms of maybe the nitty-gritty, that really comes on that trustee induction that it's a paid event where I go through every single responsibility. But generally speaking, in charge of that organization, you and your other trustees. But you need to read the Constitution so that at least you understand what they stand for, how they want to operate. Are they a grant-making charity? Do they believe in missions? So, for instance, if they decide to go to Uganda, you need to be part of that decision-making process. It's not that they just tell you, oh, give me, because some people, they just want trustees where they will just take money from you, support this, support that. That's not good. You are being used, You should know what exactly they want from you. And when I register charities, I always recommend that they do at least an induction training for their trustees, which I charge. I do charge for that because I'm going to go through each responsibility that trustees have. So maybe you want to encourage that organization to have an induction training. Tell them you want to be trained and you know someone who can train them and they will have to pay for it. It's an investment as well in your trustees. You are telling them, I value you, I value your contribution, and this is our investment in you, showing that we trust that you will do a good job.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. But please ask for the Constitution. Ask for their Constitution. Tell them you are interested. You want to know what they stand for.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that question, Sister Blessing. Lady Maureen, over to you.
Hi, thank you very much. It's a question from my husband. He's been sitting in and listening.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we were just wondering.
Directly. It's men and women platform. It's not just women. There are men here, please. And he's a very handsome man. Please.
Yeah, we were just wondering whether there could be a future seminar focusing on fundraising. Because
actually today I was just thinking about, but that's going to be a paid event. How to put together a winning bid.
Yes.
Because by the grace of God, I've worked as a fundraiser and I've worked as a grant maker. So I have, by the grace of God, a wealth of knowledge from both ends. And just this morning, maybe God knew I was going to be asked this. I was saying that I have run that in the past, but usually organizations like churches ask me to come to speak, but I charge them for that. So there will be one. But because of the work that is involved in it, unfortunately, I won't be able to do a free one for that. I will have to do a paid event. So like I said, just this morning, I was thinking I need to put that together because I know, even I have been invited personally by a lot of organizations to say, oh, please come and speak on, funding and bidding. I don't do fundraising because it is very intensive, but I can give guidance, direction based on my experience, like I said, working as on the fundraising spectrum and on the grant making, assessing, and what are the things that we look at, the criteria. So yes, that will come definitely. And Obi has your details. So when I put that together, I will definitely let her know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Patterson. Also to say in relation to that question, we would like you to put your details on the chat so that we can send you update of the next seminar or workshop that we're working on. That definitely is one major area that we're looking at. And we're going to be bringing Pastor Mori on board as well. And like she rightly said, it shall be a paid event. So, and I'm sure people here, what's that? It's nothing to scare us, it's to empower us and give us the strength, all that we need to get it right. So it doesn't cost us at the later end. So please put your email address or phone number. We will get the details and send you some feedback forms. So lastly, I can see Abigail, Mercy will speak for you, Abigail. So quickly ask your question as we wrap up for today. Go ahead, Abigail.
Thank you very much, Ma, for this insightful information. Please, someone at an organization asked me for my health and safety certificate and other things before, and I didn't know what they use it for. It's a church organization. Can it be used as, I don't understand, like you are saying these things now that it occurred to me that I don't know what they asked for, and I didn't even ask why are they taking this from me. But what can they use this for as a charity company?
Right. So first of all, oh yes, it is clear. First of all, what is the relationship between you and this organization? Is it that you have a contractual agreement? Are you providing services to this organization? That will help me to answer your question.
What I know is at times I cook for them, like I just cook on Sundays for church members after church.
Are you a member of the church as well?
I'm a member, yeah.
Okay.
I was a member.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, fantastic. So basically, they are within their rights to ask for that. Remember, I was talking about the fact that you cook, you need to have health and safety regulations and whatever. It's one of the things that, strictly speaking, the trustees need that to cover their backs in terms of limiting their own liability. So say, for instance, there's food poisoning issue. They need to prove to the Charity Commission, if it ever got to that level, you get me, to say that, well, we did request for their health and safety certificates to say that you are certified that you cook good food and it is healthy, it is safe for consumption. That's why even Chinese restaurants, if you go there, you will see the health and safety thing and all the food certification to say, it is safe to buy from them, and the food here, as far as, the last time they came to check, that it is safe surrounding and it is safe for the public to consume. So it's not that they will use it negatively. It's actually within their rights to ask for it. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I want to believe that will be our final question for today. Remember, we did request for your details. I've only seen a few right here. Please kindly send it to us so that we can get you updated on the next training or workshop coming up. Just like Pastor Moria said, these are essentials and they're areas that is so needed, and that's what. So I'm just going to ask Abby, are you there to just say a very big thank you to Lady Maureen for this amazing work that she has delivered today?